welcome to Challenge Solutions. My name is Macy, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about Google Meet for iOS. As schools go virtual, more and more students and teachers are using video conferencing software to hold virtual classes and meetings. Google Meet is just one video conferencing platform, but it is used in many Google Suite schools because it can easily be used alongside Google Classroom. If you're a student or TVI and you have questions about Classroom itself, we do have a video up on the Challenge Solutions YouTube channel specifically about Google Classroom, and I will link that in the description. But in today's video, we're going to talk about Google Meet for iOS. That is for iPhones, iPads, and iPod Touches. Unfortunately, I cannot record my screen during a Google Meet session, so I am just going to sit down and talk and walk you through the basics of the application in this video. So when you open the Google Meet app for the first time, you're going to need to choose which Google account you want to use with the app. If you are a student, you need to use your school account because that should be the same account you're using for Google Classroom and the account you use for everything school related. If you're already signed into that account on your device, you can simply double tap it. The accounts show up in a list, so you can swipe right until you find it and double tap and then hit continue. If you are not already signed into your school account or whichever account you are using for Google Meet on your device, you can keep on swiping until you hear add another account. That is a button, and you can double tap on that, and you should be taken to your classic Google sign-in page where you'll enter your email address, hit next or enter, and then enter your password. If for some reason you do not have the option to select the accounts you want to use when you open the Meet app, there is an Accounts button in the top right corner of the screen. It's also the third item on the page, so if you four-finger tap at the top to jump to the top of the screen, you'll land on a menu. You can swipe right twice from there, and you'll find the Accounts button. It will announce which account you're signed into, and if you double tap on it, you can switch accounts or add new accounts from there. So once you know you're signed into the right account, you can go ahead and start looking through the main page of the app. The first item you're going to see is that navigation menu. It is also located in the top left corner of the screen if you want to touch and drag to find it. But unlike in other Google apps, there isn't actually much to see in there. All we have are your Google account settings, a help button, and a send feedback option. So you're probably never actually going to use this menu. If you keep swiping right, you're going to hear the Google Meet heading, and then you'll find the account button that I mentioned earlier, and then we get to a new meeting button. As the title suggests, this button will allow you to create your own meeting. But when you double tap it, you're going to get a few different options. So we're going to look at those. The first is Get Joining Info to Share. If you double tap that, you're going to get a meeting link and an option to copy it or to share an invite. If you choose copy, the link will be added to your device clipboard, so you could paste it into any text field. That could be a message, an email, a Facebook post, anything that you could type in, you could put that link into. If you choose share invite, you're going to get a classic Apple share sheet. So that's going to let you send the link directly to messages, mail, or pretty much any other app you would typically see there. And that's going to go directly to that app with an invite, so you aren't pasting the link anywhere. And if you've decided it's not time to send your link yet, or you've ended up in that popover by accident, you can swipe left and there will be a close button there for you. So now we're going to look at option number 2 for creating a meeting, and that is Start an Instant Meeting. This is going to put you into a meeting by yourself, and you can invite people from within that meeting. So you're going to get your basic typical meeting screen, which I'm going to go over later in this video, and the meeting link and share invite buttons are just going to be in the middle of that meeting screen. This would be good if you were inviting people to a meeting that you wanted to start right then and you wanted to be in the meeting when everyone joined. The third option we have when starting a meeting is to schedule in Google Calendar. Now, personally, I do not use Calendar because in my experience, it is not very VoiceOver friendly. But if you do use Calendar, this is either going to open in Google Calendar or in Safari if you don't have the Calendar app installed. And you can schedule your meeting there and add invitees from in the Calendar app. The invitees are going to get an email with the date and time of your meeting and the link. So that's just one less step you have to do, but I personally just choose to avoid using calendar. I have seen a lot of teachers choose to use the schedule in calendar method because it works to schedule their classes, but as a blind student, I don't recommend using that to schedule your meetings. I recommend just putting the meeting link in an email and announcing the date and time within that email. So now let's talk about joining a meeting. If you swipe right from the new meeting button, you're going to find a join meeting button. If you double tap that, you'll be taken to a text field where you can enter the meeting code, which should be provided by your meeting organizer. Personally, I have never joined a meeting in this way because usually you will receive your meeting link via email and click that, but this is here if you need it. So now let's talk about that meeting link. In most cases, you're going to get an email from your teacher or whoever is organizing the meeting, and in that email is going to be a link that you can click to join the meeting. You're just going to double tap that link and it'll open in Google Meet. In other cases, teachers will post the link in Google Classroom, so it will be in an announcement in your class stream, and you will click the link from there. Just a note though, you may need to use the VoiceOver rotor to scroll by link within the announcement for VoiceOver to recognize the link and allow you to click it. So regardless of how you found the link, whenever you click it, it's going to open the Google Meet app on your device. So you really never actually have to open the app from your home screen and navigate through that main page. Prior to scripting this video, I think I opened the Google Meet app once, and that was just to sign in. Because when you click on any link you're given, you're going to be taken straight to a pre-meeting screen where you can be sure your options are set correctly before joining the meeting. Now, the first item in that pre-meeting screen is a back button, which is going to take you out of the meeting and back to that main page. Be sure that you don't click that on accident, because to get back to your meeting from there, you have to navigate back to wherever you found the link and click it again, and that can take a while if you're using a screen reader, but know that that's there, just be cautious about it. If you swipe right from that back button, you have a report abuse button, then the meeting code as a heading, then you have the option to turn off your camera, turn off your microphone, and then the join button. So you can choose whether you want your video or audio on or off before you join the meeting, and that is nice as a screen reader user because you don't have to go swiping through buttons while you're in a meeting and people can see and hear you. Below the join button, you have account settings, so this is just one more opportunity to be sure you are signed into the right account. But swiping back left from there, you can double tap the join button, and that's going to take you to a waiting room where you will wait to be let into the meeting by the host. In here, you still have options to toggle your mic and your camera, but you could be let into the meeting at any time, so be prepared for people to be able to see and hear you while you're in that waiting room. When you've been let into the meeting, VoiceOver will jump to a hide button, and you should be able to hear, if you cannot see, the other participants in the meeting. And at this point, if your camera and microphone are on, you can be sure that everyone in the meeting can see and hear you as well. Now, the hide button that VoiceOver jumps to will collapse your meeting if you double tap that. So if for any reason you needed to be back on the Meet main page, this button would take you there. And if you needed to go back to your meeting from that main page, you could jump to the top of the screen with a 4-finger tap, and VoiceOver should read the meeting code out loud. You can double tap that and you'll be back in your meeting. Swiping right from that hide button, you'll hear the meeting code again. Then you have an option to flip the camera, an option to choose your audio output, and a description that lets you know who is on the main video. If you keep on swiping, VoiceOver will say you and let you know if your camera or microphone is off. So the phrase would be you, microphone off, if your camera was on. Keep swiping right and you will find a leave call button, more options to toggle your camera and your microphone, and a more actions button. Now, if you double tap that more actions button, we get several options. The first is to add others. So if you double tap that, you're going to find 2 tabs. The first is people and the second is info. Under the People tab, you can share the joining info for the meeting with the Apple Share Sheet and view the participants in the call. It's all nicely labeled and accessible. Under the Info tab, you are just going to find the meeting link. But from either tab, you can swipe left or four-finger tap at the top of the screen to find a Dismiss button that you can use to close the pop-up. After that Add Others button in the More Actions menu, we have a button labeled In-Call Messages, which is going to take you to the message thread within the meeting, and it's going to allow you to type messages as well. So when you double tap that, VoiceOver jumps straight to the message text field, and you can type in there, or you can swipe left to scroll through previous messages. Again, all nice and accessible, and laid out in a way that is very screen reader friendly. And you can close this in the same way. Next in the More Actions menu is the option to share your screen. So this will share your screen, but it does not share your device audio. So if your microphone is on, the other members of your meeting can hear you talking, but they cannot hear VoiceOver or any sound that your device makes. However, if you share your screen, you should keep in mind that everyone in the meeting will be able to see your VoiceOver cursor, which is not very familiar to people with sight, so maybe disable the VoiceOver cursor in your settings before sharing your screen. Also, you should note that any notifications you receive while you're sharing your screen are going to be visible to everyone else, so keep that in mind. After the Share Screen button are buttons to turn on captions, to report a problem, report abuse, and a settings button, and the only thing in those settings is an option to adjust your video for low lighting, so you'll probably never need any of those last few buttons. But that is everything you're going to find in the meeting screen and pretty much everything you'll find in Meet. Now, when you leave a call, you are going to be asked to rate the audio and video. That is just on a 5-star scale, and you can double tap a star to choose it, or you can swipe left to close that. But it's not complicated, it just might catch you off guard, be prepared for that. But this is Google Meet in a nutshell. It's very screen reader friendly, very accessible. I haven't had any major problems with it, so it's honestly fine for students to use on iOS devices. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe so the YouTube algorithm knows that we exist. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, feel free to leave those in the comments section or in the contact form at challengesolutions.org. You can check out the Challenge Solutions blog, podcast, and YouTube channel for more content like this, and thank you for watching.